Hello and welcome to Orbit International Youth Talk Show. Now this talk show is a youth space and forum where young people get to share their challenges, hopes, aspirations and dreams. Now today we have Marshal Chiza back on Orbit, and he was with us second season, and back then he was the youngest motivational speaker, and he had written 2 books, Success in No Time and The Poor Billionaire. And right now Marshal is only 20 years of age, and he has decided to create a publishing house called the Billionaire Publishing House. So today we're going to talk to him about the publishing house and how he's been able to help a lot of young people in Zimbabwe and out of Zimbabwe to actually publish their books. Welcome, Marshal.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm exceedingly well.
You are looking stunning as usual. What do you call this that you're wearing?
Truly speaking, I don't know.
You don't. You just liked it, and then you're like, let's do it. Okay,
Yes.
I know you're coming from a long way. You know, coming
Yeah.
all the way from Blawayo just to be on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Now, when we last met, we were talking about you writing books, and now you are helping other people in Zimbabwe write their books, edit them, and publish them. What gave you this thought?
All right, I must say, I'm so much excited now to be called the CEO at the age of 20.
That's amazing.
Well, I, as the CEO, I realized that we are now being ruled by dead people's works. That is the reason why today we see people like Harlambos, people like Shakespeare, people like the Post of King Chandra, all those people are dead, but we are feeding on their information. So I said now, let me take this reading culture back by having many people who are writing books, who are motivating people, who are writing different stories, to share their stories, because it's still, right now as we speak, most of them, they are alive, talking of these people now publishing books, and it brings more sense to the person who's reading, because at least you know Marshal, you heard about me, and you're reading my book, it makes more sense than someone who's dead and something like that. So that is our biggest motivation at the end of the day as a publishing house, to say no, we don't want to have the ideas of dead people, but want to read fresh ideas.
Okay. It's interesting that you reach out to a lot of young people when you are publishing and you're publishing their books. What sort of challenges did you face as a young person when you were trying to publish your book that you actually then realized that, no, I think I need to help young people? Because I understand that you sometimes publish for young people even for free sometimes when you actually see potential. Why did you come to this decision? All
right, I must say the way I was groomed and the way I grew up, I was not raised in a rich family. I was not raised with parents who had money. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, so to say. My parents used to pay 2 things when I was growing up. They used to pay attention and pay a visit. So now, by that virtue now, it was very hard for me to publish a book because I was still 16 by then. It was very, very hard. And with source for funds, people could not help me. So I started to realize that there are people with the same potential. They don't have maybe somewhere to start, but they have the ideas. So I said, no, I want to take those ideas, materialize them and make them big in order for them to be seen, because you never know the person who I'm publishing a book for can be the next Bill Gates, can be the next maybe Warren Buffett or something like that. So I see if I see the potential, then I help you to publish your book.
Okay, all right. So I know that you also you wrote your 3rd book, which is Before I Become a Billionaire. Why the name Before I Become a Billionaire?
All right, I want you to understand that whenever you see a before, there's an after. So I'm one person who believes that one day, sooner or later, I'm going to become a billionaire. And then the first quote which I put in that book is, I'm almost a billionaire now. I have all the zeros, I'm only left with the 1. So you need to understand that whenever you see it before, there's an after. I strongly believe that I'll be a billionaire, and those are some of the principles which I was applying, which I'm doing right now, which I strongly believe will prepare me to be a billionaire one way or the other.
Okay, so let's go to page 36 of your book, and it says, they call us dreamers,
but it's actually us.
But it's actually not us who go to sleep. In this life, there is no guarantee that things will go the way you want them to. But if you keep your head up, work hard, and embrace opportunities that life throws at you as obstacles, you will make unbelievable progress. Now, what inspired you to write this?
Well, I've come to the realization realization that most people have the biggest weakness, yet they don't realize that it's a weakness. The weakness of sleeping.
Yes.
They think that maybe sleeping, it's health-wise it's okay, but there's also a time when you don't need to sleep.
Yeah.
You grind as if today is your last day. You grind as if something you'll never see this world again. So the reason why I wrote that quote or that maybe affirmation is to remind people that sleeping won't pay the bills for you. Actually, Chiza once said some people are rich today because they made blankets.
Yes.
Some people are poor today because they're using the slave market to sleep.
And he actually used that statement when he came.
Oh, amazing. And so it really touched me, and if you realize actually quoted him in that book, that's the biggest challenge which I see as people, especially in Africa. We sleep too much. If your boss arrives at, or maybe he sleeps at 10 p.m., I don't see a reason why you should sleep at 10, sleep at 12. So that now someone might be asking, what will I be doing when I'm not sleeping? The first thing is to read. I always say that if you can do something great, you need to accomplish something great in life, you need to read. Because books are the tools that releases the habit of the mind. So once you start having that reading culture, your life will change.
Okay. All right. What is the bigger picture for your publishing house?
My bigger picture is we want to see as many people writing books, because I strongly believe that everyone has a story to tell. Considering the economic dispensation which we are living in right now, everyone is eventually becoming older. Everyone is eventually becoming a writer. If you take a stone, you'll hit a writer. If you take a stone somewhere in town, you'll hit a writer. So I want everyone to write their stories, whether good or bad. If you're born poor, you can teach your poverty, can teach someone to become rich. If you're born rich, you can teach someone to become more rich. So that is our ultimate goal at the end of the day, to see everyone writing a story. Okay,
right. I have tons of books here that Marshal's publishing house actually published. And we have one for a guy from South Africa. His name is Charles Magara. Okay, Wolfman. So how did these people from even outside of the country find you?
It's amazing because some of them I've never met them at all. They just contact me maybe through my email and say, Marshal, we saw your work, we're so much excited. I'm sending my book, I'm sending the money, I want you to publish this book in the next 30 days. We publish the book, we send it as I speak. Right now that book is one of the best-selling books in Pretoria, South Africa. We did over 500 copies recently for the launch.
That's amazing, Marshal. Well, after the short break, we'll meet a young lady named Guguletu who wrote a book under the Billionaires Publishing House called The Diary of a Black Girl. And she's going to tell us a little bit about the experiences working with Marshal and her book. And later on, we'll have a young man who could not be here today with us, but you'll see a short video of how he feels about his book, which is The Powerful Youth. And Marshal will get to comment a little bit about this young person. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the show. Now, just before the break, we had Marshal Chiza, a young man who created a publishing house called the Billionaires Publishers House, and he's been able to help young people all over Zimbabwe to be able to actually publish their books. And right now we're with one of the young people that he's actually helped in publishing a book, and her name is Guguletu Nule, a young lady who wrote a book, and she's only 19 years of age, and she wrote a book, Diary of a Black Girl. Welcome, Gugu.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're looking pretty. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so generally I'm a free-spirited person, like I'm a human rights activist.
Okay.
I love helping people.
Okay.
Like I'm a free person.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm nice. People say I'm nice.
Okay.
And I have ambitions and dreams, you know, just like any other teenager. And the most important thing about me is I'm a God-fearing person.
Yeah.
Like I believe that everything I get, everything I'm blessed with is through Him.
Okay. All right. So, when did you realize that you could actually write, and you could actually write a whole book?
Well, I've always been a person who likes writing. Like I own a diary, like most girls own diaries.
Yes.
But then it's like, you know how the situation is in Zim. It's like, well, there are very few authoresses,
Yes.
and it's not really something that you'd wake up and be like, okay, let me write a book. So then it's only through Marshal, like he was a friend of mine, like we were together in primary school.
Okay.
So then it's through him that I knew that, okay, so this is actually possible.
Okay.
So yeah, I just decided to be like, okay, let me publish a book, see how it goes. So then I just wrote it, and it's something I could relate to, so it wasn't that hard.
Okay. It's interesting. I know that there are a lot of young people, obviously, that would like to write, that would like to publish. What were some of the challenges that you faced in the process of actually writing the book?
It was the money, yes, definitely. Because my mom, well, she's that woman who thinks that, you know, school's like the only way to success. So it was kind of hard to like convince her.
Okay.
Yeah, but then yeah, definitely the money and actually sitting down and finishing the book, that was hard. And you know, English not really my first language, so that was hard as well. Because then I'm not just dealing with Zimbabwe; it's like international. So my English had to be perfect.
Yes. All right. Okay. So Gugu, you have an amazing or an appealing name of your book, which is The Diary of a Black Girl. How did you come up with the name?
I'm a spontaneous person, so then I don't like thinking over things like for a long time. So it just popped up in my head, and I was just like, yeah, this is it.
Okay. All right. Let's go to page 21 of your book, and you talk about depression.
Yes.
In terms of teenage girls actually going through depression. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's funny how times have changed. The things that we girls worry about now is different from what people used to worry about maybe before. And that's why most parents or peers don't really understand, like, you know, we can worry even about not being so pretty or about our weight. You know, people are just so insecure and it can actually get you really depressed. And depression, it doesn't have to be that deep, like maybe clinically diagnosed by a doctor. Even just stress, that's a symptom of depression.
Yes.
And you wouldn't want to talk to anyone who's just depressed. You want to like sit in your room, exclude yourself from people. So it's like the little things that actually piss people off.
Okay. All right. Now, when you talk about the experiences in your book, you talk about a lot of heartbreaking and sad experiences. Most of your book has a lot to do with, you know, anger and sadness and depression. Are these some of the experiences that you went through as a young lady?
Yeah, well, not entirely, but then definitely the main plot is about how this girl loses her parents. In which I lost my parents as well when I was still at like 13 about. So I could relate to her, like, you know, as a writer. That's why the emotions and everything was vividly brought out, because it's something that I went through.
Okay. All right. So in your book, are you appealing? Or are you trying to send out a message to someone out there?
Yes, I am. Because what people don't know, it's just that people are just so indifferent nowadays. People just mind their own business. No one cares about what's going on out there. Like, because the statistics are like really heartbreaking. We have about 80% of orphans like going missing. And I'm talking worldwide, not just Zimbabwe. And you have like orphanages where they are mistreated, some are abused, some raped, human trafficking. The people who are the most vulnerable are orphans because they have no one. No one will look for them, no one cares about them. So that's why it's like I'm appealing to like the perpetrators or the people who are actually doing this, because I'm hoping that my book will literally go like on an international scale and people actually know about this. So it's more of like an awareness campaign towards it.
Okay, so this is part one of your book, and you end your book saying, I have lived my life and forgot to help the vulnerable. Is this my punishment? Is this karma? Well, I cannot deal with this anymore. It's done. So I'm thinking your book ends in a, you know, heartbreaking, and she's very depressed. So when she's saying it's done, it also makes me want to go to part two and think, did she commit suicide? What happened? So if I'm a young lady and I'm reading this, you say at the back of your book, from a tender age, she learns that life is no fairy tale, but a tough journey that only the strong-hearted can endure. Do you also bring out some messages where you're giving hope to young people?
Oh, I am, because this book, well, generally, like, I like many things.
Yes.
So it covers also the things that black girls go through.
Yeah.
That's why it was direct for black girl.
Yes.
It's not just about orphans, because then if I limit it to that, then only people that have lost their parents would understand.
Yeah.
But it's many things. It even covers the issue of rape and teenage pregnancies. In as much as being pregnant when you're a teenager is bad, I feel like when that has happened, it has happened, there's no going back.
Okay.
So if people were more open-minded to it and would like accept these things, right, there would be less suicide attempts. Like most teenagers would actually still be alive today. Because personally, I had a friend of mine who ended up committing suicide because her parents, she knew that her parents would never accept something like that. And it also covers rape in the sense that people don't heal from it, and I hate that society makes it as if it's our fault that we're raped. Why is it that every time they'll be like, what were you wearing, or what were you doing? I really hate that. So it brings out all these messages.
Okay, well, we can't wait for part 2, and we're very excited for you, and we wish you all the best. Well, after the short break, we will continue with Marshall as we also listen and see a young man's story whereby he was also helped by Marshall in publishing a book. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the show. And just before the break, we were with Guguletu Ngube, who is a young lady who was groomed by the billionaire's publishing house, and the CEO, Marshal Chiza, who is just 20 years of age, is here with us. Now, right now, we're going to see a small video of a young man's story whereby he was also helped by Marshal in publishing.
My name is Tatina Kosana. I am a young preacher, a public speaker, and a motivational author. I was born in the capital city of Botswana, which is Gaborone, by the year 2000. Then I grew up in Botswana for about 7 years. Then my family migrated from Botswana in 2007 to Zimbabwe. Then that is when I started my primary studies at Manyo Primary School. Then in 2014, I went to Tense Chawana High School to start my secondary year. That's a little bit about Tatina Kosana. Since I was born, I always had the passion for writing. I always had the passion to be involved in literary work. But the problem was, I used to tell myself that I'm going to start writing when I now have an experience, when I now have a story to tell. But I asked myself, why later? Because later is not a date, it's not a time, it's not even in the calendar of days or months. And I told myself that age is not a barrier to achieving great dreams and becoming that great person I aspire to be, regardless of my age, financial status, or background. Because what matters is not my quantity, it is my quality. I decided to call my book The Powerful Youth because I wanted it to be dedicated to the youth. I wanted my book to be relevant because the text of the book must lie under the title The Powerful Youth. So a book with a title that is not relevant is like a road with a signpost written a bus stop ahead, yet there is a zebra crossing ahead. My mentor and my leader is one of the youngest authors in Zimbabwe by the name Minister Marshal Chiza. What makes a powerful youth is any youth who dares to challenge the world's struggles. Anyone who wakes up at any day and try to change his mentality, to change his reality. Because you can't change life if you can't change your mentality. It is anyone who imagines himself as a great person, as someone who has achieved his purpose and what he was born to do. So I can say, what makes a powerful youth is anyone who doesn't want to see his vision turning into an illusion. So I believe that what makes a powerful youth is the purpose that is driving him to do what he was born to do. Be the person that you aspire to be, regardless of your age, your financial status, or your background. Become that great person that you aspire to be, because what matters is not what you have. What matters is what do you have now, what are you doing with it, and what are you doing to get what you don't have. Those are my last words.
Okay, so Marshal, we watched an amazing video of this young person, Tatenda Kosana, who wrote the book, The Powerful Youth. Okay, so what advice can you give to other young people who want to start writing books?
My advice to upcoming authors is the first thing you need to do is just write whatever you have in your mind. I always say, don't write it right, write until it becomes right. And then the second thing is don't compare yourself with other people. Just do your things the way you can, because we all are different. That is the reason why we have different fingerprints. So those are some of the things which I want you to know as an upcoming author. And also, the last thing you need to consider is never ever give up, no matter how hard it is. I always say that I know this world can be cold and deceiving, but you have to keep your head up like your nose is bleeding.
Well, thank you so much, Marshal, for coming through to the show, and thank you obviously to Gugu for coming and telling us a little bit about her book. We wish you all the best, and soon we'll also be writing our books, and you guys will get to publish, you know, our books as young people. And thank you to all our viewers. Now you can reach us on www.orbit-international.org, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. See you next time.